Welcome back to Mind Pump TV. I'm Adam, your host. Today, you guys, we're getting into mobility. So our last program that we did, Maps Red, we have your guys' foundational days, and then on the opposite days, you had trigger sessions. Well, the green program, Maps Performance, we have something similar. Instead of, though, you guys doing trigger sessions, we have you focused on mobility drills. So the movements you're going to see today, we picked 4 of the mobility exercises. We have a ton of them in the actual program. But we picked 4 of our favorites to demonstrate for you guys so you guys could test drive them out yourself. Pay close attention to the form and the mechanics of the movement. Take your time on this. You can do this more than just once a day. So we have it set up to where you do it at least 1 time a day, but we encourage most of our clients to do as much mobility work as they can fit in. Make sure you hang in all the way till the end of the video, because then Sal's gonna wrap it all together, explain why we put those movements in there.
All right, Sal, we are here on your guys' first mobility day. We are in the 90-90. We've brought Jess. I met this beautiful young lady on the street today and brought her in to do some of these mobility exercises.
She looks just like my girlfriend. So what you do is you want to first get into what's called the 90-90 position. So the front leg and the back leg both bent at 90 degrees. Now you want to sit up nice and tall, and you want to lean forward and create tension with that front leg while raising the back heel.
A couple points you want to look at is that front knee. She's driving it into the grass with that front ankle while she's also lifting up that back ankle. She's going to hold that position for about 5 seconds and then reset out of it. And we're going to repeat that about 5 times on each side.
That's right. So remember, a rep is 5 seconds up in that held position. That's an entire repetition. Tension is very important with this movement. You can't just do this willy-nilly, otherwise it will lose its effectiveness. You have to connect to all these ranges of motion that you're creating.
Also pay attention to Jessica. She keeps a nice neutral spine as she leans into the stretch. A big common mistake I see when people do this movement is they round their back. She could go all the way to the floor if she wanted to, but then she would round her spine. She keeps that nice level back all the way into her stretch.
Excellent. Coming up next, shoulder dislocates.
All right, Sal, we are on to the second move here, your shoulder dislocates.
Now, any stick will do as long as it's long and straight. You want to grab a relatively wide grip, and you want to keep your arm straight as you bring the bar over your head until it reaches your backside. Now, you'll notice that Jessica's got great shoulder mobility, and her grip isn't super wide. If you're having difficulty with this, it gets easier if you grab wider and wider on the bar.
Right. It's more important that you get over your head without actually bending at your elbows. I see some people trying to do a narrow grip and then they have to cheat the rep over. You want to be able to do this in a very controlled manner, just like she is right now. Really concentrate as you get back over the top of your head on the backside, retracting the shoulders and depressing them as she comes all the way down.
Now, a repetition is from front to back, back to front again. So don't count a rep when you just do a half a rep. It's all the way to the back and then all the way back to the starting position, and that's 1 repetition. Coming up next is stick pigeon.
All right, Sal, here we go. We're on to your third mobility drill of the day right here. This is the stick pigeon.
Now you want to grab a long, straight stick, and you want to get into pigeon pose, which is a yoga position, and you want to walk down the stick, come all the way up the stick, so you're using this for guidance, and at the very top, you want to rotate your body while creating tension into the stick in both directions. So you rotate to the right, and then you rotate into the left, bring it back to center, and walk back down. Now, one thing you'll notice is Jessica's hips are straight forward. She's not twisted on her body. If you can't sit in this position, because this does require a certain level of flexibility, you can use pillows or a block underneath your hip to elevate yourself a little bit.
This is a great movement. We got like a little anti-rotational movement in there with you guys' hip mobility at the same time. This is and some shoulder mobility in this. This is a great mobility exercise. It will be challenging for a lot of people. That's okay. Take your time, work at it.
That's right. Now, a complete cycle, meaning going down, twisting to the right, twisting to the left, is considered a repetition. So we got to do the whole cycle. Then you can count that as a rep, and then you can repeat.
With this, I do 5 on each side, so do a total of 5, and then she'll switch with her other lead leg in front and do 5 on the other side.
Easy for you to say. Coming up next, leg swings. All right, so now we're going to move on to leg swings. Now with this movement, you want to hold on to for something with balance. You want to take one leg, swing it in front of you, and swing it out to the side.
Now, notice Jessica's doing this with control, too. A mistake I see a lot of people do is they swing so hard in that their upper body starts to bend and actually move when they're actually swinging the legs. This is something that you want to keep your upper body nice and still and just working on that swing, elevating as high as you can without cheating the rep.
Make sure to come across the body and all the way out to the side. This is a great hip primer, and it does help with hip mobility. For all you watching who have IT band issues, this movement may actually help cure that problem. You want to do each one up is a rep, by the way, and mirror the tempo you're watching in this video.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is Mass Performance, now phase 1, but we're doing mobility exercises. So let's run through the movements that you did today to focus on mobility, and then I'll tell you why you're doing these movements and what their purpose is. Now, the first movement was the 90-90. That does internal rotation on one leg, external rotation on the other one. You're trying to activate muscles that hold you in that position to give you better control over different ranges of motion. The next movement was shoulder dislocates. Of course, that's moving your shoulders through a very full range of motion to connect to those new ranges of motion, just like the 90-90. You did your stick pigeon, great movement for the hips again. It's also partly a stretch. And finally, your leg swings for the hips. Now, why did we put mobility exercises in MAPS Performance? Well, MAPS Performance challenges your body in a very high intensity type of way. It's focused on performance, so we do kind of push you a little bit. We know that for athletes, the number one thing that prevents people or athletes from performing well isn't because they don't have good strength or good stamina or good endurance. Believe it or not, the number one problem is injury, and that injury comes from the inability to take that strength and apply it towards a movement that's not necessarily structured or scripted. So what do I mean by that? Well, you may be able to squat really well in the gym, but then you're out in the real world, you're trying to lift a heavy box and you're squatting, but it's totally different than when you squat in the gym, and then you hurt your back because you lack mastery over different ranges of motion. That's what the mobility sessions aim to not only remedy, but to also improve upon, so that when you're strong in the gym, which is what you're training in phase 1, you're also strong in the real world. The mobility sessions are indispensable. Do not avoid them. Do not skip these. The good news about the mobility sessions is you do them at home too, so you don't even have to do these today in the gym. Now, like I told you last time, share this video with your friends so you can do them together. You can share what's going on. It's good to have that support. If you have any questions, put it in the comments, and also subscribe to this channel so you can get notifications every time we post videos like this one.